welcome back to somebody on the Football Zone and to a weekend reviewing Premier League Championship and FA Cup action. Let's get straight into it with the FA Cup semi-finals. And on Saturday it finished Manchester City 3, Sheffield United 0. A valiant effort for the Championship side, but ultimately City and the juggernaut that keeps on going at the moment, easily picked out the win. It was a Riyad Mahrez hat-trick, a penalty in the first half and two in the 61st, 66th minute. And yes, City here, dominant as you expected. Sheffield United had a good chance early on, but except for that was kind of one-way traffic, and City just march on. But moving on into Sunday's semi-finals, a bit of a closer affair as expected. Brighton 0, Manchester United 0, heading to penalties. And yeah, the first six all scored there. Solly March missed his, so unfortunate for him on what's been a great season. But Victor Lindelof scored the winning penalty for Manchester United to see them through. And yeah, on the whole, there was absolutely nothing to choose between the two sides. Penalties, definitely the fairest way to decide things, you'd say. And yeah, in the end, it was settled. Manchester United, big boost for them to recover from the Europa League. But for Brighton, a huge loss for them. But moving on then to a crazy game. At the Emirates on Friday night, where it finished Arsenal 3, Southampton 3. Southampton took the lead in the first minute through Alcaraz. Walcott then came back to haunt his old club in the 14th minute. Martinelli made it 2-1 in the 20th minute. And we thought Arsenal would come into it, but no, Carr scored in the 66th minute to make it 3-1. But two late goals from Odegaard and Saka made it 3-3. We thought then Arsenal would go on it, but no, they couldn't. And yeah, I think this is a game where Arsenal had to win. Southampton would be deflated with a late collapse. So yeah, two disappointed sides here, but crazy game. But moving on into the lunchtime game on the Saturday, and it was Fulham 2, Leeds 1 at Craven Cottage. Harry Wilson in the 58th minute opened the scoring before Pereira in the 72nd minute made it 2-1. But Polonia in the 79th minute own goal made it 2-1. Sorry. And yeah, Fulham just about held on the win, but Leeds' struggles really continue, which will be hugely disappointing for them, and they're not right in trouble. But moving on into Liverpool 3, Nottingham Forest 2 at Anfield. A quiet first half, but boy oh boy did things liven up in the second half. Diego Jota made it 1-0 in the 47th minute before Nico Williams in the 51st minute made it 1-1. Diego Jota in the 55th made it 2-1. Morgan Gibbs White equalised, but then Salah in the 70th minute made it 3-2, and Liverpool picked up the win. Big win for them as they continue their European ambitions. But Forest, they were gutted, played really well here, and maybe deserved something out of it. But moving on to Leicester 2, Wolves 1 at the King Power. And what a huge win this was for Leicester. It didn't start very well. In the 13th minute they went behind through Cunha, but an Iheanacho penalty and Castagna in the 75th minute made it 2-1. And yeah, in the whole there wasn't a huge amount separating the two sides, but yeah, Leicester just about got the win. I'd say just about a massive win for them. Kind of keeps Wolves in it. They're not out of the woods yet, but Leicester just a massive win to get out of the drop zone. But move on into Crystal Palace 0, Everton 0 at Selhurst Park. Mason Holgate was sent off for a second yellow in the 80th minute. But yeah, there was nothing to choose between the two sides. Not the best game I've ever watched, to be honest. For Palace, it's fine for them, a draw. But for Everton, maybe a game they were targeting to win. But at the same time, I think it's still a decent point. So they can't be too upset. So yeah, I mean, they still got a lot of work to do though, haven't they? They're just a mess at the moment, and Dyche, I think he'd do really well to keep them up, to be honest. But moving on into Brentford 1, Aston Villa 1 at the Brentford Community Stadium. And yeah, it was Tony who gave them the lead in the 65th minute. Jardine had a horrendous miss for Brentford before Douglas Luiz equalised in the 88th minute. And yeah, I think even the Villa manager Unai Emery admitted it was kind of a lucky draw for them. But in the end, it's the draw that they got and a point closer to Europe, which is obviously the big thing for Villa at the moment, so they'll be delighted. Brentford, though, after a poor run of form, they would really like to win here. But moving on into Sunday's action and a slightly crazy first 20 minutes at St James's Park, where it was Newcastle 5, Tottenham 0 through Murphy with 2, Isaac with 2 and Joelinton. Kane pulled one back before Wilson in the 67th minute made it 6-1. But yeah, for Tottenham, I think surely this is as bad as it gets. 5-0 down last 20 minutes. I don't know, just absolutely crazy. But Newcastle responded from that loss last week, and boy oh boy did they do it emphatically. Top 4 looks secure for them now. Moving on into another big scoreline on Sunday. Bournemouth 0, West Ham 4. Antonio Paqueta, Rice and Fornals made it 4-0 to West Ham. And yeah, big win for them. They played really well here, were clinical and got their reward. Big big win for them. Kind of just gets them away from the relegation zone, and maybe they're looking positive now. Mid-table finish and a European trophy. They've definitely taken that. But for Bournemouth, a reminder, they're not quite out of the woods yet. Moving on into the Championship action, and Norwich 0, Swansea 3 was the score at Carrow Road on Saturday. It was 2-0 to Swansea after 39 minutes when McCullum was sent off for Norwich in the 42nd minute, and Natcham added the third in the second half to seal the win for Swansea, and they were dominant here. Russell Martin destroying his old side here. Both these guys only 3 points off the pass. Norwich aren't going to get it. It was Swansea, the run they're on, maybe you can't rule it out. But moving on then to Cardiff 1, Stoke 1 at Cardiff City Stadium. Josh Laurent gave Stoke the lead in the 16th minute before Cabba in the 29th minute made it one apiece. And yeah, Cardiff came into this one I think aiming for wins and really getting themselves out of the relegation zone. They probably had the better of the game and couldn't quite get the winner, which will be frustrating for them. But they're still in a good position, 3 points above the relegation zone, 2 to play. They've got a game in hand, so yeah, I think they'll be looking positive. But for Stoke, probably another disappointing point. Moving on then to Wigan 2, Millwall 1 at the DW. Will Keane in the 14th minute and gave them the lead before Saville in the 30th minute equalised. But a late goal from Asgard in the 84th minute gave Wigan the win. And yeah, big win for Wigan this. Keeps a slim but possible hopes alive of survival. And yeah, what story it'd be if they could somehow survive. It's unlikely, but you never know. Got a favourable 2 games. But for Millwall, I don't know, it kind of just seems to be a story of them bossing the playoffs again. Moving on then to Hull 1, Watford 0 at the KCOM. And yeah, it was 2 fans in the 25th minute who gave Hull the lead. But for Watford, they probably had more of this game. But in the end, couldn't stick the ball in the back of the net. Hull pick up the 3 points. Good 3 points for them. Both these managers under pressure, so it could be a big win for Hull. But for Wilder, I think, yeah, we'll definitely be out of the window, out the door, come the end of the season. But a big win for Hull. And yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic to see what they can do next season, to be honest. Obviously safe for this season. Moving on into Coventry 2, Reading 1. Big game for this. At both ends of the table. It was Gooden in the 36th minute who gave Coventry a lead before Zhao equalised in the 51st minute. But just a few minutes after that, it was Hamer who got the winner for Coventry. And yeah, Coventry definitely had more of the game, you'd say here. And yeah, came away with a win. Big win for them. Suddenly their playoff position is looking pretty solid. But for Reading, yeah, really disappointing. Results around them didn't go to plan at all, and they're in deep trouble. Moving on into probably the biggest shock I've seen in the Championship for a long while, that's for sure. Burnley 1, Queen's Park Rangers 2. Field in the 58th minute gave QPR the lead before Benson equalised with 14 minutes ago, and we thought Burnley would go on and win it from there. But Chris Martin in the 87th minute gave Burnley the win, gave QPR the win despite Burnley's utter domination. Just an incredible result for QPR, and that result you'd say pretty much sees them safe. But for Burnley, frustrating. Yeah, they've just not quite clicked since they got promotion on the beach essentially. Bristol City 2, Rotherham 1 was the score at Ashton Gate. On the Saturday in the Championship. It was Conway in the 15th minute who gave Bristol City the lead before Hugo equalised, but in the 91st minute it was Vyman who gave Bristol City the win. And yeah, good win for them. I would say probably just about deserved. And up to 14th in the table, looking to end the season positively, and I think they're definitely doing that, so they can be pleased with that. But Rotherham still in the relegation battle, I'd say. Moving on into Birmingham 0, Blackpool 1 at St Andrews. The only goal again coming in the 74th minute through Pervader. And yeah, Blackpool now only 3 points off safety. They're definitely, I don't know, I still think they're in the hunt. They're more than likely to go down still, but still in the hunt, and still got a chance of survival, which I guess is all you can ask for from the position they were in. But for Birmingham, yeah, disappointing result. Luckily for them, they're already safe and sound in the Championship next season, so no reason to worry. Moving on then to Preston 1, Blackburn 1 at Deepdale. And yeah, Blackburn, it was them who took the lead in the 18th minute through Smosticks, but then a home-own goal after seeing dreadful game management from Preston from Blackburn saw Preston get an equaliser. And yeah, in the end it was a close game. Maybe Blackburn just shaded it, but yeah, Preston getting a point, and it could be crucial coming in the season. I don't know. It's going to be a tall order for both these teams finishing first, but we'll have to see. Moving on into West Brom as they take on Sunderland on the Stadium of Light, in a massive game on Sunday. And yeah, it was 2-1 to Sunderland. It was Swift who gave West Brom lead right before half-time from the spot, before Kirkin with 2 in the second half for Sunderland gave them the win. Close game. I think Sunderland may feel fortunate to get the win, but it doesn't matter at this stage of the season. Huge win for them. It's lifting them right into playoff contention. West Brom, though, is so frustrating. Kind of sounds like their recent games, just chucking away opportunities to get in the playoffs, and they'll be devastated with that. Luton 2, Middlesbrough 1 was the score on the Monday night game in the Championship. Obviously this game kind of a bit of a dead runner because both of these teams are qualified, both of these teams are going to get home playoffs. So yeah, couldn't read too much into it. But Arch gave Middlesbrough a lead in the 40th minute. Not the best goalkeeper I've ever seen, but Luton turned it around in the second half. Lockyer and Morris with the goals, Morris from the spot. In the end, not much between the two sides, but Luton just about getting the victory, continuing the momentum through the playoffs. And yeah, I think these two will definitely be favourites. And this game kind of showed how close it will be potentially if we have a showdown between these two at Wembley to get in the Premier League. But anyway, guys, that is it for the video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Don't forget to comment on the final show for daily football news and subscribe to the channel. I'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace.